Well, hello there, ladies and gents. I'm Tammy Sipniewski, your crypto queen. Thank you so much for popping by my channel. I feel at this point I'm sort of like a Ben Armstrong correspondent, which is fine with me because I enjoy covering him, and you definitely like to know about him because I can tell what videos of mine you seem to be watching. Okay, so he finally did his interview with Austin from Altcoin Daily. If you remember a few weeks ago, we did cover the TJ interview with Austin. And I just, want you to note a very big contrast between TJ and Ben. Watching TJ, he was just so bland and just very dry, like a piece of toast. Where when you watch Ben, he just, he has such a presence and a charisma that you can definitely see why he was the big star of BitBoy Crypto. And at one point, Austin even makes a note like, yeah, you definitely have that thing, Ben. You were definitely the star of the show. But anyway, let's go ahead and do just a quick little recap of the interview. It was really good. And of course, in the beginning, he was talking about how he just is not really that into money. We're not going to cover that because we already know that about Ben. He did talk about the Lamborghini, and it's not so much because he wants to drive the Lamborghini, but what the Lamborghini represents. Okay, so we are going to kick off at about 8.5 minutes where he starts talking about one of the big things that people wanted to know about, and that was the affair.
Certainly there have been some unflattering things that have came out here. Look, I had an affair and I take responsibility for it, and I deserve, as I always say, I deserve all the tomatoes. People deserve, I effed up on that big time. It's a choice that I can't undo. It's something I've never done before. I've never had an affair, a sexual relationship with anyone outside of someone who I was dating or married to. I'm not a serial cheater. I'm not a person that's some kind of predator. Like, there's never going to be a story come out about anyone that I've ever had any kind of sexual relationship with.
Now, when he says that, I believe him. I believe this is the first time that he's ever cheated on anybody. Just, the way he's talking about it with conviction. And I believe him.
Outside of what people already know. And so I certainly didn't believe that I was capable of doing such. And for that, I do deserve humiliation for, because people know the kind of person I've said that I am, and I'm very loyal. And I stab my wife in the back, and that freaking sucks. And I
So he's, yeah, like out of everybody, it was his wife that he hurt. And that stinks. Okay, so this is going to be interesting. This is going to be Austin commenting on, hey, Ben, you're the star.
and the people around me that I love and care about, and my friends in this community that have shown themselves to be true friends.
Obviously, one compliment I want to give you, which I just think has become so much more obvious to me in this last month, so much more undeniable, I should say, is that whether you're at your high highs, meaning talking about something you love, crypto, in the daily live streams, or at the low lows, having that run in with the cops, you're an on-camera talent. Like, you're entertaining. Like like that's something they can never take away from you. So like when you say you're going to build up a new channel, like, do you think the other channel, do you even want the other channel anymore? It's like hemorrhaging views.
I would tell you, I would.
Ouch, right? Austin's like, do you even want that thing back? Like, talking about BitBoy Crypto, which is now Discover Crypto, like it's like a jalopy. Do you even want that thing back?
Tell you, no matter how this proceeds, I'm never making another video on that channel. Even if I get everything back, never, except, like maybe a channel trailer just to keep it alive and explain like what happened. But I have no plans of using that channel going forward, no matter what happens. No, if I were to get everything back, I have plans, but this is my channel going forward, and there's no doubt, and there's no going back on it. There was a time where if I would have gotten everything back, and that channel had momentum, that I was going to go back to BitBoy and I was going to keep it going. And that's why people might have seen some conflicting statements by me, right? Like, on one hand, I said, like, that channel was over, and I was taking
Conflicting statements, like how his name at the bottom of the screen, his little name box says BitBoy Crypto.
a new over for me and taking a new moniker, my actual name. And then there was a time where I said, guys, that was really me just kind of sitting back. Like, of course I want to get it back. I am BitBoy. But now we progressed to somewhere different, which is I've gone through kind of a realization about where the value lies for me. The value does not lie in the old channel. The value doesn't really necessarily lie in my new channel. The value, it lies within me. And everywhere I go, there I am. And so I'm going to bring the value everyone. Like you said, guys, I was a YouTuber before YouTube was invented. Like it's always been the Ben Show for me, and I think people around me would attest to that. And I don't mean that from a standpoint of, guys, I just got a big personality. I've always had a big personality. I was always in trouble in school. Like certainly my later years, it was for bad stuff, that I got into as an older teenager. But even from the time I was in kindergarten, I was getting sent to the principal's office. Why? For talking and doing things for attention.
Okay, so now we're going to go to 1420, and this is going to be the allegations. So remember, everybody was saying, oh, Ben dry humped me. Ben threw a bottle at me. This and that. JChains left because of whatever. Like, so he is going to, address the allegations.
I want to talk about your new channel. But before we do that, I understand this final question. You can't talk that much about specifics. But out of all the allegations that the other party made about you, misappropriation of funds,
The other party.
a physical assault, all that stuff, your message is that they're untrue, correct? Like the audience,
Absolutely.
Team
Absolutely.
Ben.
Absolutely. 100%. 100%. 100%. I will never back down off of that. There are, I would just say that there have been some liberties taken with the telling of these stories. Great liberties that have been taken. And like, there's a lot of things that I wish I could say right now. And I wish I could talk a lot more about what's going on. But what I would tell you is this,
And I'm glad he's not, right? I'm glad he's not going to go super into depth, because his attorney is probably telling him, Ben, don't say too much, because the more you say, the more difficult you're going to make my job. So please keep it limited. So I'm glad he's, reeling himself in. And by the way, he was very in control in this entire conversation. Never once did I see him and be like, oh, like some people say he's just completely unhinged and you can't trust him. This is a man who is in complete control of his emotions. And I think, he had the worst possible thing happen to him. And of course, sometimes you're going to act crazy. I mean, I know I definitely would.
even if I could talk, and even if I could tell you every single thing, and I could just be an open book, I still would not be addressing individual allegations. Because when I address individual allegations, like it makes it seem like he's addressing this. Maybe there's some truth to something else. No, guys, there's no truth to any of these allegations. And I will continue to say that. And, I think that if it has to be proven in court, it will be proven in court. But I don't want to give credibility to any of the things that have been said, because every thing has been misconstrued and everything is false when it comes to the things I've been accused of.
And obviously, dude, the thing is, I feel like the real winners in this are going to be the lawyers, because it's a he said situation from an outside party. The lawyers are getting all the money. Is there any chance, do you see any chance of a reconciliation where somebody doesn't get zero in your mind? Is there any chance of meeting in the middle?
Sure. Yeah, sure. I think so. And I think that I would have told you that last week. I wouldn't have said last week that there was any chance for any kind of negotiation or buyout. But at this point, we all know where the value is, and the value is over here. So why do I care? Why do I want to go on and on fighting over the value that I've already brought to my new channel? So what I would say is good luck to everybody involved, trying to do it without me. Good luck. But that means that I am definitely going. All I'll say is right now, there's a lot of options on the table. There's a lot of things that are going on in the background that people aren't aware of. And I'm looking forward to a lot of these things playing out. And I look forward to just moving on from this one way or the other. And I think that everyone sees, where the success is going for me. And that's all I'm trying to focus on right now.
Let's talk about your new channel. You're doing the morning live streams, or why should somebody subscribe? What do they get by subscribing to you?
He's funny. Watch
Me.
me.
That's why. But guys, we're going back to the grassroots of the channel. You know, I mean, I got here, like I wanted to have, like, guys, I love ESPN. Well, it kind of sucks now, but it used to be really great. You know, like before they fired everybody. And I mean, that's a good example of how the people that you have matter in entertainment. And on ESPN, you know, they went through massive firings a few years ago, and those things matter a lot. When Mike and Mike, the morning show there, broke up, like, I don't give a rip about who. They've had 17 different hosts try to replace them. You can't replace Mike and Mike. They were eternal. Like, they were sports talk radio. You know, kind of in like, you know, there's other, you know, people out there that are seen as their brand, and they move on, and people try to come in after that and do something with it, and it doesn't work.
So he's basically saying it was me. I was not only BitBoy, but I was that entire BitBoy channel. Like, it was me. People were coming for me. And our next section is going to be, that we're going to cover, is 2312. And that is going to be talking about the return of JChains and also the construction of the new channel. That includes, you know, Mr. Hotness, little eye candy himself. That's so funny that he said that on his video about me. But I do want to say that, you know what? Ben does bring value to the channels. I mean, you know, especially in the videos. He released a simple little 6-minute video today. I assume it was filmed on his phone. And he was talking about, you know, 3 lessons that he's learned along the way. And I think, you know, if you've been in the crypto game any certain amount of time, we all can, you know, definitely be like, yeah, those are our regrets too. Like, you know, not taking your profits is like the number one thing. And, you know, it was just such a great video. And it's like a video that if you're getting somebody, a friend of yours is coming into cryptocurrency, it's one of those videos that you should forward to somebody, because it's just chock full of really great information. And, you know, he didn't write a script on this. He just held up the phone and filmed this really great video. So he's just, you know, he's content rich. What else can I say? He's content rich, Ben Armstrong. So let's get to what he was saying about, you know, JChains coming back to join the fam.
Boys,
Can we,
and
but can we, like, JChains, how happy were you to get JChains back in the group? Like, cause he left the company early on.
oh my gosh, man! Like, and people have to understand that the story that's been told about why JChains left the company is inaccurate. That's not what happened. Did JChains and I get into an
Oh, so TJ lied about that? Shocking.
altercation and dispute of some sort? Yes, we did. Okay. However, the fact was that is not why he left. You know, he left a month later because of something totally different. And if he ever wants to tell the story about exactly what happened, like, he has the, you know, he has the autonomy to be able to do that. Actually, I don't know. I think there was NDAs that were signed, so maybe he can't actually say it. But I didn't sign one, but I'm not going to put words into somebody else's mouth. But I always miss JChains. I tell you, when I got back, we had a problem between the two of us. There was definitely a problem. And when he left, I was very sad about it. I begged him to stay, and he decided to leave. And when about 2 months after he left, I went down to the Bahamas and chased Sam Bankman-Fried all around, right? But when he was still free. And, you know, my first comment when I got to the hotel after we got done with the first day, where we went to the condo, I said, man, I wish JChains was here, you know, and there were some things that occurred that we both wish that we could take back. Because regardless of why he left the company or not, there was a change in our relationship at some point. And to be fair, you know, JChains, when I got back from the Bahamas, we went in November to Decentral. JChains tried to kind of make amends, and he tried to hang out with me and be my friend. And I'll be honest, I went into it at the time. I was hurt by some stuff that happened, but and I've always said that, like, I just missed him so much because he was my dog, right? Like, you know, a lot of people know last November, my best friend died. My best friend, Jim, that had been on the channel before. He died of a drug overdose. It's extremely sad. We met in rehab 15 years ago. We've been best friends. Like, we called each other brother, like brother. He was my go-to guy. Like, that was my best friend. And I lost him. right after I lost JChains. JChains was number 2. He was my best friend right behind Jim. And it really hurt me. And it was really sad that we did have some issues in our relationship. And we've now made amends on those. And I told him, we had an honest conversation about why I was hurt and I was upset. I knew why he was hurt and why he was upset. And I knew that he had been trying to mend that relationship and I wasn't trying to mend it. But because like there were some things I wanted to protect myself a little bit because I'm too quick to forgive and let people back in. There's some things that we see now that are unforgivable, I believe. But I feel so great about having him back. Like we picked up right where we left off. We said the boys are back, and they're obviously getting AJ to come over.
That was a huge get from an outsider looking in. To me, it seemed that way.
Yeah. Well, AJ is the most talented person. AJ and Frank are the most talented people that I ever brought in.
Even Austin agrees with me. Getting AJ back was a good get. Nah, I called it.
And I saw AJ's talent from the very beginning. There were a lot of people that didn't see it, and I had to like kind of force like, no, guys, like trust me. He reminds me of me, like in a lot of ways. Like he has a lot of the same qualities and characteristics that I have. He has maybe a little bit more. I'm more like rugged, manly good looks. He's more like boyish good looks. Okay, we're both good looking guys. Okay, I did find out recently that
Ben is so humble, and so am I. He's about to mention me.
Some of the lady YouTubers are into AJ, which I didn't know. But we come from different places. We have a lot of similarities, but he is extremely talented, and I always knew he was going to be big, and I always wanted him up under me, as an apprentice. That's why he was my go-to person to film for me when I was gone. And so getting him to be able to come create content with me, not for me, but with me here at our new studio, it was absolutely huge. But with AJ, there was never a gap in our relationship. For me and JChains, there was a gap where things were not the same with us as they were in the beginning. And so to have him back, it does feel a lot of reconciliation. My heart feels really good about it. And that's why like there's not two people in the world that I would rather have here working with me other than JChains and AJ. And between the three of us, start up, pick the pieces, and we can move forward. And I hope that I hope they get rewarded for their loyalty to me. And what I mean by that is that people look at these people that when the times were hard, when the times were tough, and a lot of people were kicking me while I was down, it would have been very easy for JChains to jump on. It would have been very easy.
Yeah.
And he didn't.
It would have been so simple for JChains to call TJ and be like, hey, you know what, man? This would be a really good opportunity for me to pile on Ben, make Ben look like a really low down, dirty kind of person if I came back to BitBoy Discover Crypto. That would have been a huge, huge thing had it occurred. But being that it went the other way around, I think that was super big that he came back to Ben. And now we're going to get to this 2820, and we are going, if any of you are investors in Bencoin, he's going to talk about Bencoin a little bit and how Bencoin / Cassie, which is also another big topic people want to hear about.
Questions. How's Bencoin doing? I see Cassie just got a promotion to CEO.
Yeah.
What's going on with that?
Well, I mean, the fact is that she was really doing CEO role anyways.
I just want to pause it. Wait, before he dives into this, I just want to say what a woman Mrs. Armstrong is, because if he were my husband and he had an affair with this other chick, I would have given him an ultimatum. Like, either you need to completely remove yourself from Bencoin or completely remove her. Because I don't see, once you engage in like a sexual relationship with someone, how do you go back to this regular little platonic relationship? Like, you just, forget about like, I think in an instance like that, I don't see how that's going to work out. So, I mean, kudos to Mrs. Armstrong that she's, woman enough to let that go, because I'm downright petty. I'd be like, that bitch got to go.
There was an announcement that I made very early on with Bencoin to where I said that she was the COO. And the truth is I would have
Not that I'm calling Cassie a bitch, but I'm just saying in that situation, I would have said any woman was.
Made her the CEO, except for the fact
Still my
that
man.
she didn't really have a name in crypto, and nobody really knew who she was at that point. I mean, some people knew. I mean, she got a bigger account than most people on Twitter or on X, but not, not anything of significance where like she was popular in the space or anything. And so I felt like for Bitcoin, for the CEO, I wanted a big name. I wanted something splashy, and that wasn't her at the time. And so I told her, I said, I know that you're doing all the legwork and you're doing like, guys, she has built this project. Like she has absolutely built all of the infrastructure that we have. Now, she didn't develop it. She's not a developer, but she's managed the entire thing. And so it just made, it was common sense to move her to that position. And I know obviously there's some complications due to everything that occurred, and people are looking from the outside and they've got all kinds of opinions. I hope my personal life going forward is now something that's going to be more off the table. I invited everyone into my personal life, and I think from this point forward, we're going to do things a little bit differently. But yeah, Bitcoin's gonna be fine. We have our V2 launch coming soon. Super excited about that.
As a matter of fact, I think the V2 launches this coming Monday.
There's going to be some income generating things woven into that V2. They're going to push us to be able to, get our initiatives and push towards crypto adoption. And guys, what a better time to be at the bottom than at the bottom of the crypto sentiment, which is where we've been. So really looking forward to building Bitcoin out and fostering crypto adoption.
Yo, TJ was never into Bencoin. Like I'm just guessing, but that's probably true, right?
How funny is it to hear Austin be like, yo, TJ was never into Bencoin. Of course not.
I will not comment on preferences of anyone at the old company, but I will tell you this, that there are a lot of people that were very unhappy with my decision to move towards Bitcoin and to move away some certain coins that were preferential, I will say. And, I know that there were some people that I lost as employees and lost, not as friends necessarily, but there were some people that were no longer operating with me. And it's the same thing. There were a lot of people that had opinions about the people I was hanging around, and a lot of people that had opinions about the coins that I liked and what I was involved in and with Bitcoin. And going forward, that's what I mean by I'm free now. Like I'm free. I can do whatever I want now. I can do whatever I want. And yes, I was 67% owner, but you have to understand the difference between being able to do whatever you want and then being able to do whatever you want with pushback and detractors. And now I don't have any of that, and I'm free to operate the way I want to operate, and I'm excited about it.
Is there an operating agreement in your new company? Are you making the same mistakes?
No, there's no operating agreement because I'm 100% owner. Like there doesn't have to be any kind of.
Okay, so that's it. He's not going to do that again, not bringing on a partner. And I can't imagine why he brought TJ on in the first place. I'm going to assume that TJ came with capital. So he probably had a capital infusion that he brought into the company, is the only reason I would assume that Ben would have brought in TJ, but whatever. So now Ben is going to talk about lessons learned from the old company into his new company. Of course, no partners, but I want to play this part out here because in case you aren't getting involved in a new partnership, or if you're starting a company, this could be a really good piece of info for you to have and reflect upon.
Any kind of operating agreement, because there's nobody to agree with. Like it's me, myself, and I that are in charge of this. So, and I would tell everybody this. And were you about to ask me a question about lessons learned? Because I'm about to give a lesson learned here.
Yeah.
A lesson learned here is don't bring people on as business partners. It doesn't matter how much you know them. Doesn't matter how much you trust them. Doesn't matter if they're family. Doesn't matter if you love them. Doesn't matter what they've done for you. When you are a person that creates something, now look, if you create something with someone, right, is different. But if you create something first and then someone else gets invited into that fold, I will look everybody in the eyes and I'll tell you that is a big mistake. By going through this, I've also seen so many other people who have gone through similar experiences, not on this level, not to this scale, obviously, because this is public, but so many people have regretted that. The number one business litigation topic is partner splitting. And so I think that, just because you create something, you're the owner of it, it doesn't necessarily protect you. So going forward, I'm gonna make sure I have protection at all sides.
Ben, final question, then I'll let you go. Millions of people have watched your story this last month. I know the other channel, the other side, is watching this interview now. What is your final message to the haters, the lovers, people out there.
Yeah. My
Haters
final
gonna
message
hate.
is that for everybody that has watched over the years and been loyal to me and subscribed to the channel and watched the videos, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. And the thing that I take away from this that is going to be the number one, not necessarily the most important lesson learned, but the number one thing that I realized that now will separate what I do going forward from what I did in the past, which is, I thought I was smart. I thought that I thought that what I was doing was unique. I thought that the value that I brought in crypto was unique. I thought that the way that we structured the content was unique. I thought I had a formula. I thought there was a formula to the success of BitBoy Crypto. And I believe that we could take that formula and we could reapply it in any niche with any person that had talent, and we could get similar results. And what I learned is that's not true at all. I never had a formula. I didn't have any kind of secret tricks or tips that helped me. What I had was I had me and I had my personality. And that the people, many of the people around me, I think forgot about that. And I never realized it, which is people watch my channel because of me. They did.
Okay, so we know what this is all about, right? TJ had wanted to adopt new people and bring them on to the channel because, like, he had all these other channels and programs that were like affiliates of BitBoy. But what Ben is saying is, okay, that was TJ's idea, or maybe both of their ideas, but didn't work. It wasn't as successful as they'd hoped it was, and this is him saying, not going to work.
Didn't watch it for the production value. They didn't watch it for, I knew about this coin and nobody else did. They may have made money on that coin, right? But they watch my channel because they love me, or they love to hate me. People love me or they love to hate me. As we all know, there's not a lot of people in the middle. I'm sure your audience,
Fact.
but I did notice your audience. I was looking at comments from another video you did. Your audience is a very neutral audience, which I think is very funny. Because I see there's a lot of like, well, like this was a really cool video and it was a very mature conversation, but no comments on what was actually said. So, your audience reflects you guys very well. But for me, there's not a lot of people that are in the middle. You either love me or you love to hate me, or you hate to love me. There's not a lot there. And I've learned that, and I realize that now, and that helps me take a lot of the comments more in stride. The comments didn't bother me before, but they certainly don't bother me now. And now I really do see that even when people are saying horrible things about me, like, it is a form of adoration in a sense. And so understanding that, having that epiphany and knowing that I'm the value on the channel, that's going to change what I can do going forward, because I know I don't want to leave something to other people to take over when I'm gone. It's either me or it's nothing. And that's how it is going forward. And I appreciate everybody for the support. The platform to come talk about in my new channel, and look forward to having you on my new show next week.
Sweet. So that's that. That's the situation. Now, I don't know if my camera had cut out there, because I do have a Canon camera, and it seems like after like 24 minutes, it cuts out and you have to hit the shutter button to get it to back turn on. So if it had turned off, I do apologize for that. But so that was the interview. I think Ben did a really great job, like he always does. He definitely has, that on-camera presence. He definitely has the charisma, and we all know he has the knowledge about cryptocurrency. He is the complete and utter package. No matter what channel you put this dude on, he's going to make that channel grow, and he's going to make that channel be super successful. Now, okay, let's get to the very important part. So he's already got the two pieces of eye candy, JChains and AJ, all right? I mean, Ben, he's not a bad looking dude himself. I don't like the tank tops, but we can work on wardrobe, all right? He was even talking about wardrobe before, saying that, he wasn't like to Richard Hart level weirdness with the wardrobe. He did have a couple things, but he felt like he was doing it for the image and photo shoots and stuff, and on stage presentations. But I do want to talk about that set. Like, they need to, I would love to get into their office and turn it into a set. It doesn't cost a lot of money to build out a set. Like, this is just my office. It's not, I'm sure you can tell it's just an office, but you can jazz your little look up just with, some background lighting. it doesn't have to be expensive. You need a good light. You need to not use your overhead office lights. Those are not flattering whatsoever. Some nice aperture lights would do lovely. A hair light like what I have right here. The accent lights in the back, and maybe just a little bit of decoration. Something that's going to be nice. And he definitely needs his microphone back, right? Remember, he'd be tugging it all around. He'd get amped up and he'd be yoking on that thing. He needs this back. He needs his Shure SM7B back, and he needs a DSLR. You can't with the webcams. You're too classy for the webcam. Okay, you got to get a DSLR. You got to get your whole gear going, and it won't cost much, but you've got to do it. You've got to, and the white walls. No, I mean, it looks like that show, The Office. He's filmed that in the office. That's got to not happen. That's got to change. So, all right. Well, that's going to do it here for me today. But don't go to that virtual background that Believes has, because I don't like that either. That's like, did you not clean your room today? Like, why do you have that? What are you trying to hide? What's going on back there? Is there a body back there? No, don't use that. Make yourself a nice little set. Inexpensive. That's what I'm saying. All right, guys. Well, that's going to do it here for me today. I thank you so much for joining me, and take care of yourself. And try to only buy on the red candles. And boy, are the red candles going to be coming on next week and the next week and the next week.